The Mountaintop Mirage. An Illusory Cure. The Reluctant Nomad. He wandered aimlessly through the countryside, no direction home. Though the sun was shining and the birds sang sweetly, their melody fell deaf upon his ears. Each day blended monotonously into the next. When tired, he rested, not because he had reached a destination, but simply because the weight of his weary legs could carry him no further. Food, water and shelter found him by chance, not intent. Few words escaped his lips, fewer still his troubled mind. In his youth, such freedom may have seemed romantic, days stretching on without purpose or plan. Yet now, with the first wrinkles of time etching his brow, each waking moment felt increasingly hollow. Life flowed on around him, but he stood stuck like a stone in the stream. The outer world drifted by in a haze, even as his inner world withered in the stillness. Some unknown sorrow had severed his connection, to himself, to others, to the essential aliveness that pulses through all beings. He did not realize how far he had drifted from presence until the strange peace of detachment became a prison, but life, ever patient, would soon come to reawaken this slumbering soul. The seeds of a journey had been planted, even if their flowering could not yet be foreseen. For now, he rested under the shade of an ancient oak, unaware of the transformation that awaited. Words of Wisdom. The day began like any other, the sun creeping over the horizon as the wanderer roused from fitful slumber. As he gathered himself to continue his aimless journey, a figure appeared on the dirt road before him. It was a monk, dressed in humble robes, his face creased with age yet emanating an uncommon tranquility. The monk approached the wanderer slowly. "I have walked many miles to find you, my friend," he said. "For I have an urgent message to impart." The wanderer eyed the monk warily. "And who might you be?" he asked. "That is not important. What matters is that you heed my words, which come not from me but from a higher source." Something in the monk's gentle eyes pierced the wanderer's cynicism and softened his guarded heart. He found himself nodding. Beyond the hills to the east stands a towering mountain, upon whose peak grows a rare, magnificent flower said to possess powerful healing properties, began the monk. "Climb to the highest point on the mountain, find this flower, and bring it back to me. This is the task I charge you with." The wanderer scoffed. "And if I do not wish to accept your quest?" The monk smiled patiently. "It is less about what you wish, and more about what life wishes from you. Listen to your deeper self. You still have inner mountains to climb. There is purpose for you yet." Something stirred in the wanderer's heart. Perhaps this old monk spoke truth. Trial by Mountain. The mountain loomed large over the horizon, its snow-capped peak piercing the clouds. After days of solitary travel, the wanderer stood at its foothills gazing upward. The monk's instructions echoed in his mind. Was there truly a rare flower waiting at the summit? Or had the whole thing been a fool's errand? The mountain seemed to dare him, its rocky cliffs and steep slopes a formidable challenge. Self-doubt and uncertainty rippled through the wanderer's mind. He was no skilled mountaineer. And he had fallen out of rhythm with exertion of will and body. Yet as the sun crested the distant hills, illuminating the mountain in divine light, something stirred within the wanderer. A voice, quiet yet clear, whispered that this trial had come into his life for a reason. Perhaps the monk saw something in him that he could not see in himself. Some latent resilience awaiting awakening. The mountain called to it. The wanderer took a deep breath and began walking. The ascent would be long and treacherous. His legs would ache, his lungs burn. But deep down, he knew to shy away from this ordeal would be to reject growth itself. This was the test life had lain before him. He would meet it with presence and courage. For at the summit, transformation awaited. Lessons in Fortitude. The winds howled as the wanderer pulled his cloak tight against the biting chill. He had lost track of the days since beginning his solitary ascent up the great mountain. Each step took great effort now, his legs throbbed, his chest heaved. The thin air at this altitude made breathing a challenge. Several times he nearly lost his foothold on the slippery slopes, still, he persisted. Pausing to rest when exhaustion overcame him, then willing his weary limbs onward again. In his youth, he would have balked at such hardship. He would have given in to the voice of complaint whispering in his mind. But now, he saw this ordeal as a necessity. No longer was he drifting without purpose. The monk's quest had lit a fire within and set his feet upon a meaningful path of progress and self-discovery. The mountain was teaching him fortitude and humility, forging new depths of inner strength and resolve. His attachment to comfort fell away with each stumbling step, in stillness between exertions. The breath of life filled his lungs and reconnected him to the essential. The divine was here, even surrounded by icy desolation. The kingdom of heaven lies within. Onward he climbed, trusting life to show the way. The mountaintop mirage, where the flower wasn't. Breathless and fatigued, the wanderer dragged himself up the final rocky crag. He had reached the peak. The thin mountain air pierced his lungs as he looked around expectantly. End of part 1.